Can it be true that King Groot can be a demigod based on the fact of a synergy? Let's find out. Obviously, there's always rhyme and reason and method to the madness, and especially with King Groot and obviously Mr. Brian Grant there. Look at him. Look at him looking cute there. The fact is, he's even more cuter because he is put up to rank 5. He's King Groot, and there's lots of value. Not just for Acid Wash, which obviously is mentioned for what Brian's been doing with Map 7, but also looking at value elsewhere. You know, for me, Incursions is incredibly fun, and trying out this champion and as well with the Sasquatch synergy and as well Man-Thing synergy, which is one thing we're going to incorporate into this particular piece of content. But it's great to see that other people are feeling the same. And if Kabam decide down the line to buff the champion, then hey, I'm all for it. But I like the fact they're kind of putting on these kind of like fun showcase synergies in. As you can see, he's over there looking cute. Okay, now let's go over the synergies. Now, here's the thing. King Groot's our lead. That's the main thing. Nothing really going for him. First and foremost, we've got Misunderstood Monsters, which is the Man-Thing synergy. And this is fun, right? I've only recently picked up a Man-Thing or decided to utilize it with King Groot. But as well, I haven't really decided to use it for things like Incursions, which is something that, if you know the new series, that's what we're going to be doing a lot more. So, first and foremost, you start the fight with 2 additional Furies and gain 2 additional Furies when exiting the cooldown state. The cooldown state is very important, especially when you consider the Sasquatch synergy, because it says start the fight with 3 paused plus 3 paused personal Furies. Now, with this, it doesn't really factor into the cooldown, or maybe it does. And this is the confusing thing, but the good thing. Right, you end up getting at least 10 Furies, or kind of like, sometimes when things are going well, 8 to 10 Furies. And that's the thing, 10 Furies on a King Groot is actually pretty nice. And you're scaling up damage really nicely as well. It's unfortunate that things like the crit damage isn't as high as it maybe should be. And maybe like the poison damage could be a little bit more than it is as well. But here's the thing, as I go to rank 2, the 6-star, which I am contemplating by the way, and as well future times to kind of like add more signatures on, if I feel that the champion is worth it, and as well if it gets buffed, then that could be an option for me. However, that's the thing with King Groot, because those Furies will expire, they will go into cooldown. And the signature ability isn't like, well, isn't the best in the world, because it goes, whenever King Groot falls into cooldown, he immediately begins to focus on rapidly repairing his, so basically it's his regeneration. So regeneration at the moment is only at 2,000 a time. But imagine if you will, this at 200 as a 6-star, and even at a rank 3 6-star. I mean, we're not going to contemplate to actually do it, but it's still interesting to see the extent of damage that can be done. In any case, we'll go over the fight in a minute and get you into that action. But also, I've paired this up with the likes of Namor. And Namor's in there, so that each member of this synergy increases the team's special attack damage by plus 12% for as long as they are alive, max 36% health. And I've just put Magneto in there because there's not any other synergy that kind of benefits at all from this situation. So I've just thrown him in to just get like plus 5% attack, because that's effectively what I'm like, well, I'll just throw that in. Yeah, you could do some other synergies in there, but I feel that this is just like, it's basic, it's bog standard. And as well, if I was doing something, and I will just throw it out there, if I was to do something like an Incursions run, I would largely try to go for something that has a good coverage, and maybe it's a case I just go for the likes of those 3 there to kind of stimulate King Groot. And down the line, that might be something to try. Obviously, this is based on the beta, and I won't get to kind of like play this anymore. We don't really have a big opportunity to play things like Incursions and stuff like that. So that's the problem as well. I was just trying to have availability for that, to test that particular notion out. But either way, you know, it's still cool to kind of consider these 3, and they're the main ones. But in any case, let's get into the battle, shall we? Ready? Fight! Yes, and welcome. First and foremost, as you can see, we've got the Furies up. And I was like, okay, so this is starting to expire. That's cool. That's good. That is going to mean for like me just like, first of all, I'm like, I'm going to build armor breaks. And maybe I should have done that first and foremost, kind of like in general. But as well, there's the problem. Having those 3 paused Furies means that we're not in the state of the cooldown. And that is the problem, because theoretically in a moment, when you're going to see after those Furies have gone, we then start having the Man-Thing synergy. So at the moment, that on the top left hand corner is your Sasquatch synergy, keeping those paused Furies on. And that's the thing, maybe I should have like thought about applying armor breaks first. And that is also like quite crucial, because if you put a load of armor breaks on the enemy, by the way, which is quite good for things like incursions, and obviously the potency of armor breaks, it would be good to see those kind of constantly scale up, and especially right in the beginning when an opportunity arises to apply at least 3 armor breaks. That would be a good and wise thing as well. So that's the thing with this fight. I'm sure that people would probably say it's still quite like long in the kind of fight scheme of things. Obviously, I'm doing things like the poison, and I would probably say as well as the armor. I'd say not the armor breaks, but as the poison throwing should largely go on with an SP2 that has at least a substantial amount of those fury buffs present. And that's the thing as well. So I'm applying now another permanent armor break, and then we go into the regeneration cooldown, which as you know is at 2000 for me. And you can see the cooldown starting to work. So the grey fury is there, and in a moment we're going to see something absolutely astonishing. So now I've got 3 dormant furies, and in a second you're going to see a big pop-up of 11 furies. Now I do go into an SP1, which may be not advisable, but that's the first time I ever thought that I could get it. And you see 3 4s, 3 Ks, 1.4K. Oh, look at those crit. Look at that. That is some meaty amount of damage right there from King Groot. And I'm surprised. I am literally surprised with the combination of that. And that is why I would be considering the idea of a fantastic incursions run with King Groot, with Sasquatch, and with Man-Thing. And it does interest me to then put those champions up a bit further. But yeah, seeing stuff like 9 Furies pop up, and as well, look at that damage there. I'm not saying it's the most impressive damage, but it's certainly impressive from a point of where King Groot was prior to where he is now when it comes to these little synergy boosts. And as well, making stuff like incursions feel like a lot more of a possibility. Okay, now I've decided to throw an SP3. We're up to 303 hits. I wouldn't say this was the more speedier of fighting, as well I'd probably have to look into in the future, like how I decided to play King Groot in general. But you know, seeing those Furies pop up as much as they've done, and as well with the armor break as well, has really meant that I should really try and like do this with a flat kind of I don't know 250 hits to take down the enemy. I've taken 0 damage on me, which is just absolutely amazing. But as well, would a Suicide Mastery version do more damage? Yes. Would a rank 2 6-star version do a lot more damage than this one? Yes. Would a rank 5 5-star do a lot more damage? Of course. And the King Groot, as you can see, will pick up 340 hits with 0 hits to me. Now here's the thing, King Groot will always remain a very acquired taste, but I've always kind of like rooted for the champion. I've always liked elements of the champion, and it does have the capabilities now with these 3 here to be quite a hot incursions team. And as well, when you're considering stuff for different maps, map 6, maybe map 7, there could be some paths where this is going to be of benefit, not maybe as a team of 3, but maybe like a team of 2, either with Man-Thing or with Sasquatch. And Sasquatch only really kind of emphasizes that start point, so it's good. It just starts you off really strongly, and especially with stuff with incursions where King Groot would be about sustainability, about using armor breaks, having debuffs like poison, having furies on, and as well the kind of pairing with the likes of Man-Thing, which is still a pretty decent champion, and as well with Sasquatch. So I kind of feel like I may want to push to grab myself a Sasquatch. But yeah, it was really exciting to test out this synergy and also look at pairings and combinations around the giant challenges. But I may be doing some other videos like this. Just want to say, like, you know, as I said, this does work quite well for King Groot, and it's a nice little compliment, but I think these as a 3 are the best combination you could probably have, and more of an incursions-based team. But yeah, really impressed to see this. What are your thoughts on this? Put it in the comment section down below. And check out some recent content over here. Check out some other stuff down here. Thanks very much for watching this video. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.